Today's lecture is on balance of payment. So here is the slide that present the balance of payments content, and the structure of balance of payment is the first is current account balance. It include balance of visible trade, balance of invisible trade, interest rate, dividends, profits, and unilateral payments. And in capital account balance, it includes changes in changes in capital assets or saving. Thus it has following heads. First is investment made in the economy, borrowings and lendings, and third one is foreign exchange reserves. It shows the changes in reserves of foreign exchange. The fourth is errors and omission. All statistical discrepancies are included in these categories. Trade account balance, also known as balance of visible trade or balance of merchandise trade. It is the difference between the export and import of goods, or more specifically the tangible items. It also includes current account balance, that is the current account or balance of payment includes the export and import of services, receiving or paying interest, profits, dividends, and unilateral receipts from and unilateral payments to abroad. Capital account balance, it includes the difference between the receipt and payments under capital account. It involves inflow and outflow of investments, short term, medium term, or long term borrowings or lendings. The items can be categorized as autonomous capital transaction, the investment which are not concerned with the surplus or deficit in the current account of the balance of payment are known as autonomous capital transaction. Due to autonomous transactions, there may be net inflow or outflow in the foreign exchange of a country, resulting to deficit or surplus in the balance of payment account. Accommoding capital transaction, the transactions which are made due to deficit or surplus in the balance of payments are known as accommodating capital transactions. Foreign exchange reserves, it shows the reserve which are held in the form of foreign currencies like dollar, pound, etc., and even special drawing rights, that is known as SDRs. Errors and omission in the accommodating capital transaction are: this involves all such errors which occur due to statistical discrepancies or any item which was not recorded in the current or capital accounts. Balance of payment is always in balance, but only in accounting sense. In general, balance of payment equilibrium receipt is equal to expenditure. Balance of payment disequilibrium receipt greater than equilibrium surplus receipt less than expenditure deficit. Now another point is types of balance of payment disequilibrium. First is structural disequilibrium. It is due to structural changes in the economy. These are long term in nature and are also known as fundamental or secular disequilibrium. Important causes of structural disequilibrium are when countries' foreign demand declines due to availability of cheap substitutes leading to lower exports and hence deficit in the balance of payment account. When countries' surplus decline due to crop failure, shortage of raw material, etc., which further leads to deficit. A shift in demand due to taste, income, etc., also leads to disequilibrium in the balance of payments. Change in the rate of international capital movement. A war may also cause structural disequilibrium in the economy. So, these are the reasons of disequilibrium, and that will happen because of some discrepancies made in the foreign trade market. Okay, so next point is cyclical disequilibrium. Cyclic disequilibrium under this case is caused due to change in the trade cycle. Different phases of trade cycle like depression, recovery, boom, and recession cause disequilibrium in the balance of payment account. Technological disequilibrium. Any technological advancement like inventions or innovations of new technology or techniques of production causes a disequilibrium in the balance of payment account. So here you can easily understand the technological disequilibrium when any technologies and technological advancement like inventions or innovations of new goods or techniques of production causes a disequilibrium in the balance of payment account. Short-term disequilibrium. It is the disequilibrium caused on the temporary basis and does not pose as a serious threat in the economy. Long run or secular disequilibrium. Secular disequilibrium prevails for a long period and hence is also known as fundamental disequilibrium. It refers to the persistent deficit or surplus in the balance of payment account of the country. Any permanent changes in the supply and demand condition may lead to economy downward, lowered fundamental disequilibrium. Now next point is monetary disequilibrium. Such kind of disequilibrium take place due to inflation or deflation in the economy. In case of disequilibrium in the economy, be it deficit or surplus, some specific policies are required. Then here you are seeing a flow chart in which balance of payment deficit and balance of payment surplus conditions you are seeing. When balance of payment deficit occur, then depreciation or devalue the currency. It results depreciation or devaluation of the currency. And next is increase exports and decrease import. And next is balance of payment equilibrium. When the condition is in balance of payment deficit, the next step will be the depreciation or devaluation the currency. So we need to increase exports and decrease imports, then we will find a situation that will be balance of payment equilibrium. Okay, the next is balance of payment surplus. What we need to do and what will be the situation in this appreciation or reduction the revalue the currency, and export decreases and import increases. That will be balance of payment equilibrium condition you will find. It means that when there is a balance of payment surplus condition, so we need to understand that we have more reserve of our currency, so we can easily purchase different new technologies or some other things that are for that we are in need of. Okay, then Marshall linear condition. Devaluation or depreciation of a currency can be successful depending on the elasticities of foreign demand of exports and elasticity of domestic demand for imports. If EX plus EM, export and import, elasticity of export plus elasticity of import is equal to 1, this implies that devaluation is successful. It means export plus import is greater than 1. It means devaluation of balance of payment is successful when total export and import is equal to 1. This implies devaluation will have no effect on the balance of payment. This is given by Marshallian condition, linear condition, and when export and import is less than 1, this implies that devaluation will worsen the balance of payment. If export is equal to 0, then import should be greater than 1 to improve the balance of payment situation due to devaluation. If elasticity of import is equal to 0, then elasticity of export should be greater than 1 to improve the balance of payment situation. So these are the Marshallian condition for the elasticity of export and import to make the balance of payment condition. If certain condition will happen in export and import, we need to take some actions to make the balance of payment. J curve. The concept of J curve was given by Herberger and Hochtaker in 1960. They based the concept on empirical finding on efforts to improve trade balance. So Herberger 1960 represent the J curve to represent the condition of balance of payment. Here you are seeing according to the time intervals are taken on the x-axis, and balance of payment for the positive and negative impact situation are taken on another on the y-axis. So if the condition is the balance of payment is less than or in the negative form, the country is in need to make its balance according to the time, and that will be, and the countries need to improve their balance of payment in the positive side, so that the country will import more or export less, right? So, and in initial effort to improve the trade balance by devaluation or depreciation will keep the balance of payment in deficit for some time, but later it will turn into surplus because import prices move much faster than the export prices. Why J curve? Pre-existing trade contracts have to be honored. Okay, and elasticities are not very responsive in short run or insensitiveness of demand for export and imports. And third assumption for the J curve is consumers and producers are also not able to react immediately. Next is currency pass-through. It is the extent to which changing currency values lead to changes in import and export prices. For J curve, analysis assumes that a given changes in exchange rate brings about a proportionate change in the import prices. This is known as a complete currency pass-through. Partial currency pass-through. It means that changes in exchange rate brings less than proportionate change in prices. This concept was empirically supported by J curve. Again, partial currency pass-through. It means that changes in exchange rate brings less than proportionate change in the import and export prices. This concept was empirically supported by J curve. Prebisch-Singer hypothesis. The hypothesis was discussed by Rohr, Prebisch, and Hans-Singer in 1950. The theory is one of the most influencing theory in terms of trade in the terms of trade and development in the developing countries. The theory states that there will be a long-term deterioration of terms of trade in developing countries due to long-term decline in the prices of primary goods which were exported by developing countries in comparison to the prices of manufactured goods imported by the developing countries. Emphasizing growth. The theory of emphasizing growth was given by Jagdish Bhagwati in 1958. The theory states that a country, if focuses on economic growth, could result in the fall in terms of trade and making the country worse off than before. According to the theory, if the growth in heavily exported biased, it will result into worsening of the situation of the country. However, such kind of growth is possible only when the country can influence the world prices. So these are the conditions of balance of payment. Okay. Now, income absorption approach. The concept was given by Sidney Alexander in 1952. According to this theory, the trade balance of a country can improve if the domestic absorption is reduced, as export minus import is equal to income minus cost plus income, consumption plus investment. So where X and M, export minus import, is equal to trade balance. C plus I is equal to consumption plus investment is equal to absorption. So Y is equal to income. Here the trade balance is equal to income minus absorption. Take balance will improve if either there is increase in income or decrease in absorption. Are the concept clear? Okay, so some of the monetary approaches regarding balance of payments are: the concept was given by Robert model and Harvey Johnson. The concept was simply an extension of monetarism. According to them, balance of payment is a monetary phenomenon and money plays a very important role in it. The concept is explained in terms of both fixed and flexible exchange rates. Fixed exchange rate, according to this disequilibrium, will be settled by inflow and outflow of foreign exchanges in the economy. We know demand for money, M is equal to KPY, supply of money, that MD plus F, where M is the money multiplier and D is the domestic concept and F is the foreign exchange. In this case, as the formula MD, demand for money is equal to KPY and supply of money, that is MS, is equal to MD plus S, where M is the money, P is the price or income of the consumer, Y is according to the time. So basically the fixed exchange rate depends on the money, demand of money and supplies of money. If demand of money is greater than supply of money, in this case this implies excess demand for money which cannot be handled by the authorities, and hence this will lead to inflow of foreign reserve in the economy. Thus there will be surplus in the balance of payment, where demand of money is less than supply of money. This implies excess supply of money which could not be handled by the authorities, and hence there will be outflow of foreign reserve in the economy, leading to deficit in the balance of payment. You can easily understand when demand is greater than supply of money, that will be the surplus in the balance of payment. If the demand is less than supply of money, then it will be the deficit in the balance of payment. Okay, now flexible exchange rates. Under this, the central authorities has the control on the money supply in the economy. Therefore, the changes in balance of payment will take place with changes in the exchange rates and domestic prices. Now, in the first case, excess supply of money, that will deficit in balance of payment, then inflationary pressure in the economy will occur, depreciation of the currency, then demand for money increase, then excess supply will be observed. In the second case, excess demand for money, supply in balance of payment, then currency operations, currency appreciates, then decrease in demand for money and decrease in demand price as well, and then excess demand of money is absorbed. Another point is foreign exchange. So this is another topic. I will discuss it in next class. Next lecture. We are missing our classroom, and when you will be in front of me, the face-to-face reading, we will definitely communicate further in this class. Okay. So one more revision for that: balance of payment, that you need to understand first in balance of payment all the condition as current account balance, capital account balance, foreign exchange reserve, and the errors and omission in that foreign exchange reserve, and current account balance, trade account balance, capital account balance, autonomous capital transaction, accommodating capital transaction, foreign exchange reserves, error and omission in that balance of payment equilibrium, that will be receipt equal to expenditure, balance of payment disequilibrium, receipt greater than expenditure or surplus, and receipt less than expenditure, that will be in deficit. And then types of balance of payment disequilibrium, structural disequilibrium that will be created, okay, cyclical disequilibrium, technological disequilibrium, short run disequilibrium, long run or secular disequilibrium, and monetary disequilibrium. Then balance of payment deficit and balance of payment surplus condition. To recover all this condition, deficit condition, that balance of payment equilibrium we will find with certain steps. And in balance of surplus, payment surplus condition, we will find equilibrium by following some steps. And then Marshall-Lerner condition, when elasticity of export and import is greater than 1, less than 1, equal to 1, x when elasticity of export is equal to 0, elasticity of import is equal to 0, what will be the condition? They represent, Herberger represent J curve to make the balance of payment situation in the equilibrium condition. Why J curve? We need to understand currency passes through, partial currency pass through, and Prebisch-Singer hypothesis for the rural Prebisch and Hansinger in 1950 introduced their theory. And emerging growth, that is the theory given by Jagdish Bhagwati in 1958, that focuses on export of the production. Okay, then income absorption, that is given by Sidney Alexander in 1952. Export, import, income, capital, investment and absorption, and trade balance. Then some of the monetary approach regarding balance of payment are given as fixed exchange rate, demand for money, supply for money, when demand for money greater than supply, and demand for money, supply for money less than demand. In that cases, flexible exchange rate, excess supply of money, deficit in balance of payment condition, and excess demand for money condition. So these are the conditions that represent the balance of payment. Thank you.